All right, now the controller of budget found herself on the corridors of justice to defend herself against accusations of defrauding and forgery. Also tonight, we are talking about riot in the National Assembly. Apart from that also, we do have floods and matters, death and cholera. All that on the program tonight, but also later on we'll be having a conversation on matters climate action and the youth. I'll be engaging youth in studio to have this conversation as we continue with COP28 in Dubai. This is the Bottomline KE. My name is Brian Amuai, but first, these are the top stories tonight. On the Bottomline tonight, Controller of Budget Margaret Nyakango arraigned and released over fraud and forgery.
Hatuna biashara ingine huku Rift Valley. Ile biashara tuko nayo ni ya kuangamiza hawa wakora.
Also tonight, National Police Reservice deployed in Baringo as government steps up efforts to counter bandit attacks.
Mamangu akaniambia nifunge milango yote, twende tuone TV mali tunaendanga kila mara.
Nasikia nduru. Mtoto yake analia, baba uimiche.
Nimekuta wote wamechinyonga.
And shock as a middle-aged man murders wife and kills himself in a suspected love triangle in Kakamega. Now you can be part of the program by engaging us on our socials at Amuai Brian, that is on X or Twitter at Lookuptv. We are also live on Facebook and on YouTube. You can share your feedback on those particular social platforms and we'll be taking them as we continue with the program tonight. Let's begin. Controller of Budget Margaret Nyakango on Tuesday pleaded not guilty to multiple charges at a court in Mombasa where she was arraigned. Now Nyakango was released on a 2 million shilling bond with an option of a similar surety of a 500,000 cash bail. Nyakango is facing 4 counts including conspiracy to defraud, operating an unlicensed circle, forgery and uttering false documents. Scenes of the past seem to be back for a hunt as the Controller of Budget Margaret Nyakango finds herself along the corridors of justice trying to defend herself against multiple charges which include conspiracy to defraud, operating an unlicensed circle, forgery and uttering false documents. The Controller of Budget pleaded not guilty to the charges before a Mombasa magistrate.
Hereby admit her to a bond in the sum of Kenya shillings 2 million with one surety of similar amount. There is an alternative of Kenya shillings 500,000 cash bail. Summons to issue, that is against the other 10 who are not in court today. We will mention this matter on 13th of December before this court.
The Directorate of Public Prosecution, or DPP, had okayed the charges as proposed by the Director of Criminal Investigations. The Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions approved the charges in a letter to the DCI on November 30th. Nyakango's case comes just days after she made headlines giving damning revelations. The Controller of the Budget last month claimed that the National Treasury had inflated her salary budget 3 times contrary to what she is paid. This she revealed while appearing before the National Dialogue Committee, saying the case was similar to several other government officials. The COB blamed the National Treasury for contributing to the high cost of living in the country.
All alone. So I asked them, why is the budget showing 3 times what my annual salary is? And it was like that for all the state officers.
In March, when she appeared before the Parliamentary Public Petitions Committee, Nyakango revealed how she was put under pressure to release 15 billion shillings days before the 2022 general elections. Her arrest saw a rise in online debate, with NAK Kenya Party leader Martha Karua voicing her opinion, arguing that Nyakango is the target of attacks solely because she recently revealed financial irregularities in the government. Taking to her X account, formerly Twitter, Karua wrote, timing suggestive of harassment and intimidation, especially coming after her revealing testimony at Bomas. Those siphoning government money at Treasury are scot-free, but the whistleblower is under arrest. The Controller of Budget report in September revealed statistics showing a whopping 83% of all revenue collected by the government have been spent on debt repayment. The report also stated that the country's limited financial crisis is being made worse by the government officials and their delegations' domestic and international travels budgets. Although her position in power enjoys the security of tenure running to 8 years, hers could be hanging in the balance, since one of the ways she can be bungled out of office is if she violates Chapter 6 of the Constitution on integrity. Brian Amuai, Lookuptv. All right, now away from that, National Police Reservists have been redeployed in Baringo County in the wake of increased bandit attacks in the region. Now, while visiting Namba and Kamejo areas that were recently attacked, Interior CS Kithure Kindiki has assured residents of the government's commitment to weed out bandits.
After leaders from the Rift Valley region let out an outcry to the national government to deploy NRPs, famously known as Wajakoya, the Ministry of Interior Security has declared to effectively fulfill their wish.
Tutaongeza idadi ya NPRs hapa. Sababu NPRs wanasaidiana sana na maafisa wetu. Na hao ndio first line of defense. Yes. Na tumesema vile NPR watafanya kazi kwa ushirikiano na officers wetu kuhakikisha hao wa majangili wakijaribu kitu ingine kabla hata ya chochote tumewalalisha chini.
However, before the Interior Security Cabinet Secretary Kithure Kindiki outlined his Operation Malizo Halifu in the region, he had this to say to politicians.
Tunaomba tusiweke maneno ya siasa kwa mambo ya usalama. Yes. Hakuna, tukiweka siasa kwa mambo ya usalama tutapoteza nchi yetu.
Kindiki is still hopeful, even after decades of failing to control cattle rustlers and terror attacks. With time, the government collective efforts shall materialize.
Shida ambaye imeumiza wananchi miaka 50 haiwezi kuisha na mwaka mmoja. Tutafanya vyovyote vile kuangamiza hii mambo ya wizi wa ng'ombe. We will defeat them.
Later on, the CES had a little chat with the residents who gave their insights on measures that can be taken to curb insecurity in the area.
Do what we call brutal disarmament. Nothing but brutal disarmament. Si tubake na hiki fungu na pimbo kama hii tuchungei.
Ruga Evil, Lookuptv.
Thank you, Ruga Evil, for that particular report. Away from that, 6 more people have been reported dead in the last 24 hours due to heavy flooding caused by El Nino rains, bringing the total fatalities to 160. Now, while updating the country on the rains havoc, government spokesperson Isaac Mwaura stated that heavy rains will continue to be experienced in western and central areas of the country.
Regrettably, 6 fatalities have been reported in the last 24 hours. That is 1 adult in Kilifi, 3 adults in Taita Taveta, 1 adult in Narok, and 1 adult in Homa Bay counties. This has raised the toll to 160 deaths of fellow Kenyans.
Mwaura further emphasized that approximately 31 buildings and 36 schools have been submerged, 31 schools out of reach, 5 schools continue to play a host of affected families, while the outbreak of cholera affecting a total of 105 people with 3 deaths recorded as a result in Lamu County.
Weather forecasts indicate continued rainfall in the Central Highlands, Western Kenya, Lake Victoria Basin, Southeastern Lowlands, and the coast this week beginning 5th of December to 11th of December. Conversely, dry conditions are expected in northeastern and northwestern Kenya, except Garissa, where occasional rainfall is anticipated.
A total of 49 hospital facilities have been damaged, while 352 people have been affected in Kakuma, with the government distributing 1.4 million animal vaccines in the affected counties.
Approximately 520,000 persons from 824 households have been displaced by the ongoing floods. The government has thus set up 9 additional camps.
Similar sentiments have been recorded across the country as more than 15,000 families from Lareta area of Samburu East have been affected by the El Nino rains, as reported by Red Cross organization in Samburu County. The General Director of the organization in Samburu County, Maurice Onyango, confirmed that the Weather Forecaster Department report indicates, as he pleads with the residents who live in flooding areas to move to safer parts to avoid further adversity.
Katika eneo hili jumla tunasema watu zaidi ya 13,000 familia wameweza kuathirika katika hizi kaunti tatu. Jambo la muhimu ni ya kwamba wale ambao wanatuelimisha kupitia hali ya anga wanasema mvua bado itazidi kunyesha, na tunazidi kuhamasisha watu wetu ya kwamba wakuwe waangalifu, waweze kutoka zile sehemu ambazo ni za chini ambao wanaweza kusombwa na maji, waweze kwenda katika zile eneo salama ili tusiweze kupoteza maisha hata moja.
Stanley Lugaria, Lookuptv.
Now, President William RUTO has said Kenya will seek partnership with India to leverage on its vibrant medical industry while engaging heavily on matters technology. Now, the head of state, whose visit to India entered the second day today, has lauded the healthy diplomatic relations between Kenya and India, especially on global issues. Henry Tende now reports.
On his second day visit in India, President RUTO held discussions with India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi and the country's President Draupadi Murmu at the Rashtrapati Bhavan Presidential Palace in New Delhi. President RUTO has lauded the healthy diplomatic relations Kenya enjoys with India, with the two countries seeking to cement this mutual understanding.
We've had diplomatic engagement at different levels from way back in 1948, even before the independence of Kenya. And I have come to India this time round at the invitation of Madam President and my good friend, the Prime Minister. And my expectation is that we need to consolidate the relationship between Kenya and India.
As Kenya explores ways to reform its health sector, President RUTO says the country will leverage on the advanced health sector in India with a view to advancing development, especially in vaccines.
We are looking at how we can create partnership in the space of rural development, especially agriculture. We'll be looking at a space of how we can share in manufacture of vaccines, both for animal and human. We're looking at what we can do about genomics.
The partnership will also seek to revamp technology landscape in the country.
We have a lot to learn from this great country, especially in the digital space. We have already, I did send from Kenya our Ministry of ICT to pick up lessons on digital ID, digitizing government services, leveraging on the enabler nature of technology in providing government service, which India has done very well.
President RUTO's visit to India comes on the backdrop of the United Nations Summit on Climate Change, the head of state seeking India's support in his quest to have far-reaching reforms in climate change actions financing model. Henry Tende, Lookuptv.
Away from that, tax rates of different commodities could soon increase after the Commission on Revenue Allocation stated that low revenue collected is not sufficient to sustain the economy, as Mevin Getembe now reports.
Appearing before the Budget and Appropriation Committee, the Commission on Revenue Allocation has hinted at the possibility of Kenya increasing tax rates due to the low revenue burden, saying that the amount of revenue collected can barely sustain the country's economy. In the 2022-2023 financial year, Nairobi, Kiambu and Mombasa counties were ranked as the highest counties with pending bills, as Makueni, Kakamega and Nyamira ranked as the lowest.
Bills, a significant amount of them are by the county executives, and the county assemblies only have 1%. So 99% of the 164 billion, amounting to 163 billion, is being held as pending bills by the county executive. That equally compromises businesses, and we correct taxes for the businesses. In terms of singling out our city county, which is Nairobi City, out of the 163 billion pending bills, the highest pending bill is for Nairobi County at 107 billion.
Marsabit, Mandera and Kakamega counties are among those that are highly endowed with natural resources but spend less on development, is Nairobi, Machakos and Kisii said to be spending more.
Performing in terms of their development, that's slide number 21, you see that the counties with the highest resources on development are the counties which are also marginalized, to include the count of Marsabit. On the slides to your right, we have Marsabit spending about 44% on development.
Among the issues raised, the committee sought to know as to why the country spends more than it can raise in its revenue.
Why we are spending what we don't have. By the rule of Nemo that Code non-habet rule in commercial law, it states that you cannot spend what you don't have.
In response to that, the CRA director said that is one of the ways to make sure that the country's economy does not shut down.
We want to grow faster than what we can afford. Even at our own personal levels, we spend what we do not have. That is why lending institutions exist, to help you move a little faster in achieving your growth targets. So as a country, we want to grow faster than we are able to finance from our own resources.
Now, drama ensued in the National Assembly today afternoon after legislators led by Minority Leader Opiyo Ndai lamented over the failure by the national government to disburse funds meant for the Constituency Development Fund. Now, Ndai took issue with the Treasury as the House set to go on recess this week, with Majority Leader Kimani Ichung'wah in trouble over the disbursement.
Madam Speaker, we are now in the 6th month of the financial year 2023-2024. As we speak, Madam Speaker, since this House appropriated funds to the NGCDF board for disbursement to respective NGCDF committees, not a single cent has hit the accounts, the bank accounts of the NGCDF committees. And NGAF, definitely. Madam Speaker, I rise to seek your guidance in the sense that this House, without necessarily anticipating debate, this House is poised to proceed on a long recess, very long recess, 2 months and above from this Thursday. Yet, Madam Speaker, we know that school children are opening schools in the first week of January.
Honorable Speaker, if members can allow me to finish, because as the Speaker has indicated, this matter is not contested by anybody, not even the Leader of Majority. That is why I took the liberty even before the matter was raised before the House, because you all forget that I represent the people of Kikuyu, first and foremost. And I have said it numerously. I don't sit here to represent, I don't represent government. Neither do I represent the Cabinet Secretary for the National Treasury. I don't work for them. I work for the people of Kikuyu.
Away from that, residents of Malava, Kakamega County have been left in shock after a middle-aged man murdered his wife in cold blood and then killed himself. Now, reports now reveal that the incident comes days after the man accused his wife of infidelity. Ebi Kadenyi now reports.
Residents of Lukumi village in Kakamega County have been left in utter shock after a middle-aged man murdered his wife and then killed himself. According to relatives, the perpetrator Solomon Isaiah came back home 3 days ago from his workplace in Nanyuki, accusing his wife of stepping out of their marriage.
Na ni kama alichukua time baada ya siku mbili kuuliza bibi yake, hii mambo iko hivi? Na bibi yake akaanza kubingana. Baadaye walianza korofani kwa nyumba, mpaka mlamu akafika mahali akakubali mbele ya bwana yake, kweli nimefanya. Huyo mwanaume huwa anakuja hapa, analala hapa. Hata pia mimi huwa naenda huyo mwanaume anafanya hapo Kakunga. Hata mimi huwa nafanya na nini, huwa naenda huko. Sasa hiyo kitu kweli, bila brother yetu alituambia, tulijaribu kumkanzo kumkaiti Mlamwa. Sasa yeye amekosa, amekubali mbele ya bwana yake, lakini alikuwa anakaa hapa. Nikamwambia Mlamwa, kitu yenye utafanya, utaenda kwenu, wewe waache huyu Solomon hii bila amepanda hivi juu, afanye nini? Apoe kwanza.
Esther Enoch, the mother of the deceased, remembers with nostalgia the last moments she was with her daughter before getting a call on that fateful night that her daughter had passed away.
Mtoto yangu anakuja, anavola mama, anasema, mama unapika nini? Ndio ugali. Mtoto wao anapika ugali, mtoto wangu anakula, anapika chai, anakula, na anambia abashe, mimi nataka kwenda kulala.
Ruth Wahanu, the deceased daughter, father narrates how his mother and father, after the evening meal, told her to go and watch television in the neighborhood and close all the doors.
Walikorofishana asubuhi na akatoka kaenda huko kwa kazini yake. Nikashinda na babangu jana kutoka asubuhi. Nikapika lunch akakula yote. Siku zingine anaachanga, lakini jana alimaliza. Akaniambia ile ugonjwa anagonjekanga amepona. Ati yeye sasa atenda hospitali tena hataki madawa.
The bodies have been moved to morgues in the area as investigations are underway.
Now, a family in Lumakanda, Kakamega County, is in mourning after two of their family members died just days apart. The first person died about a week ago, and the second one died while cutting down a tree to fetch firewood to be used in the latter's burial.
It is a dark day in Munyama village, Kakamega County, as they mourn the consecutive death of two relatives. The anguish began with the passing of Edwin Mudambi last week, and as they were making arrangement for his final farewell, tragedy struck again. This time, David Swadi, the brother to the deceased, met his ultimate death as he was cutting down firewood to be used during the funeral.
Baba yetu alikuwa tu jana, yani sijui ilikuwaje. Ilikuwa tu anaenda huko juu, anasema tu miti ati nafaa nipeane miti huko juu kwa matanga. Anaenda kuambiana mkuje mkate miti. Hawakuji. Tena anarudi anawaambia, mkuje mkate miti. Kukuja akawaonyesha miti. Akawaambia huyo kijana, mimi niandika kwa kitabu nimetoa miti ya shilingi 3,000. Baba yetu alikuwa anaenda. Kaenda huko nyumbani. Kidogo mama akawakuja huko, watu wengine wakakuja nyumbani wakasema, twende tukakate hiyo miti tulikuwa umesema watu kuja kukata. Walikuwa kuna mama. Mama akamwambia twende nyumbani, mti atujipanye taanguka, inaweza ikaanguka. Mama anafikiri baba amemfuata, baba aenda kaa pale kwa kanisa. Nyalika kwa kanisa, hasa wale wenye walikuwa nakata mti tukielekea kuanguka. Wakasema nini? Swadi toroka, mti ndio hiyo. Sasa akamshtua. Kumshtua akakimbia kumbe anaenda kwenye mti naanguka.
Alikuja kuniita akisema ya kwamba ananipatia mti ili tufanyie kuni ya matanga. Mimi mwenyewe nilikuwa nimempoteza kijana yangu. Basi wakati alikuja kanionyesha mti, nikamwambia wacha, kwa sababu hakuna watu, wacha mti watakuja kata hata kesho ama jioni kama watu wako hapa. Basi ndugu yangu nilitoka huko nikarudi kwangu, na muda kidogo sio punde nikasikia kitu kinaanguka kama mti.
Amid this overwhelming grief, the Mboga family is facing financial challenges in covering the burial expenses for both Edwin Mudambi and David Swadi. The family is now appealing to well-wishers for assistance.
Omba serikali tusaidie. Matanga mbili kwa boma. Hatuna pesa, hatuna venye tunajisaidia sisi wenyewe for sure. Tuko na mtoto inafaa join form 1. Hata mama yetu hata stress itaua tu. Naomba tu mtusaidie.
Martin Masharia, Lookuptv.
Right now, let's get sporty tonight. National Under-18 football team Junior Stars have qualified for the CECAFA Under-18 finals after thrashing neighbors Tanzania 4-3 goals on penalties at Jomo Kenyatta Stadium, Mamboleo in Kisumu. Now, the Junior Stars will now face Uganda in the finals.
Shabaha yake ilikuwa iko kwenye maeneo yake, kaenda dakika 120 ikakuja ni matuta hapa akacheka.
Now, the East African Safari Classic Rally has received a 6 million shilling boost from Safaricom. Now, the 9-day rally event, which kicks off this Saturday, has attracted 63 drivers from 27 countries globally, with 44 international participants and 19 local contenders. Now, the rally will cover approximately 4,000 kilometers, traversing 11 counties, cutting across Kilifi, Nakuru, and Nairobi, with the prize-giving ceremony set to take place at Diani.
We are going to be traversing about 11 counties around Kenya, starting from Mombasa, coming down right up to Nairobi, Naivasha, going down towards Nakuru, and then coming back up all the way to the coast. This rally is 5,000 kilometers long, so it's going to be quite a difficult one. And in that, I would really like to urge all those spectators, the drivers, and everyone involved or watching or in any way being involved to be very, very safe. This rally is a showcase for Kenya. We take the rally to areas where the normal tourist run doesn't, like the Cherangani Hills and other places where a normal tourist company will not take you.
All right, now climate change is a huge subject in the world as we speak at this particular moment. Happening in Dubai is COP28 and will be coming to an end in just a few days from now, started on the 30th.